Welcome to the Mile High Hoops podcast with me, Jake Shapiro, talking to you after the Denver Nuggets take down the Sacramento Kings. And this game was fascinating from a basketball schematics standpoint. The Sacramento Kings ran what we are now calling the Nikola Jokic rules against the Nuggets. It's something that we saw the Los Angeles Lakers run a couple games ago, and something the Celtics ran as well, which basically, in principle, for those who need an explainer on the Nikola Jokic rules, the Joker rules are as follows. Do not let him touch the ball. Front him in the post, whether it's towards the front of the area or the back. So if he's towards the free throw line or the block, you're fronting him. You're always putting a body on top of him. Secondarily, you have a help side defender helping off the Nuggets' worst shooter, which in this case was Russell Westbrook most of the game, and that was Jonas Valanciunas, the center. And you have guys digging at him. There are possessions in this Kings game where all five guys on the Kings are in the paint staring at Nikola Jokic. So essentially, it's pack the paint and don't let Jokic touch the ball. I want to dispel this because we're going to hear about this a lot, especially when the Nuggets play the Lakers here in a couple games again. The Los Angeles Lakers did not invent this. JJ Redick did not invent this. This is something that even the Golden State Warriors were running before the Nuggets got Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Pack the paint, don't let Nikola Jokic touch it. It is what led them to beat the Nuggets in 5 games in that 2022 playoff series, which I have the cup right now from the 2022 playoffs in front of me. Take a sip of water. I'm not saying Steve Kerr and the Golden State Warriors invented it, because it's something that's existed with the Nuggets. For those who have watched the Nuggets through the Nikola Jokic time, there have been different stretches to the Jokic era, which is what's the best way to defend him. Through those championship team era, the last 2 years, it was let him score. Do not let him pass. That's when the Nuggets get really good. But before the Nuggets had the level of three-point shooters that they had last year, and even to some extent this year, it was always clog the paint, protect the paint, double him in hope that Torrey Craig, or in this case, Russell Westbrook, does not hit threes. That's the recipe. That's the Nikola Jokic rules that we are seeing now. And by the way, hack the ever-living heck out of him. Just continue to claw at him, create new scars like we saw in Boston the other night. Nikola got fouled a bunch of times in that game last night, and it was uncalled against Sacramento. I didn't think that he deserved to be as frustrated as he was, but I understand for game 60 in March why he's like, why are the Kings taking this so seriously? This is not a big game on a Wednesday night. But these rules have evolved over time. What the Philadelphia 76ers found out a couple years ago, and putting PJ Tucker on Nikola Jokic with Joel Embiid roaming off the Nuggets power forward, in that case Aaron Gordon, is an evolution of this rule. What the Golden State Warriors have done at times with putting Draymond Green and Kevon Looney on the floor together, with Draymond guarding Jokic and Looney roaming off ball, is an evolution of this rule. So we're seeing that last night when Jake LaRavia is just all over Nikola Jokic, just draping his body over Nikola Jokic, with Jonas Valanciunas helping from the backside. Now, does this game look a little bit differently if Malik Monk and Domantas Sabonis are playing? Probably. I don't know what the result is, but the Kings probably schematically played a little different because Valanciunas is a little bit more of a bruiser on the defensive end than Sabonis is. And I'm a big Sabonis fan, but that's just not his play style. So the Nuggets deal with this in the first quarter last night, really bad. They just couldn't figure out a way to beat the Kings in the first quarter with this. They score 42 points on 62% shooting. The frustrations on offense carry over to defense. And then the Nuggets finally figured out the defensive side of the ball. And that's where the game took off. I know they ended up trailing by 14 points in the third quarter again. But that was just a product of DeMar DeRozan hitting some crazy shots, because he's the best mid-range shooter in the last couple of years in the NBA outside of Joker and maybe Kevin Durant. The way the game goes through, though, the way we see the game progress is the stops that the Nuggets are getting allows them to run. And the running allows them to put rim pressure, get pressure on the rim. And additionally, not only does that open up the floor, but it puts you on the free throw line. And last night, the Nuggets shot 30 free throws. First 30 games of the season, the Nuggets were shooting 25 free throws a game. I was talking about it on almost every single podcast. The last 30 games of the season, the Nuggets have shot 20 free throws a game. So 5 fewer free throws a game. That's a pretty big mark. And I didn't just pick like a random date in there to make it look good and bad. That is just literally from December 31st to January 1st, like is when I picked. I didn't really look into that because it was during the game last night, but it was just to point out to you that the Nuggets free throw rate has fallen. Last night, they get it back up. So they're dealing with a team, the Nuggets themselves, who, it is 12 of 35, which makes for 34%, which is decent from the three-point line. But I think anyone watching that game would tell you most of those threes were wide open. And now you're getting into not only do the Nuggets not take a lot of threes, they take the fewest threes in the NBA, but they're struggling to make them. Porter last night's 1 for 7. Porter's going through it right now, shooting-wise again. He's hit a little downslope after I got very high on him. I thought Christian Brown and Jamal Murray having 8 and 7 assists respectively off the ball was pretty huge because the Nuggets found a way to still have 28 assists in a game where Nikola only had 6. Nikola just is in and it's, again, the evolution of the Nikola Jokic rules. You go back to the Phoenix Suns series, you're in the passing lanes. It's all of the principles we've seen from different organizations combined into one. And the philosophy really is, I would rather give Russell Westbrook and Christian Brown open jump shots to start possessions than to let Nikola Jokic create. Which is crazy to think about because the point of Nikola Jokic and his offensive mastery is that if he, one of the best scorers in the NBA, can't get an open shot himself, he will find an open shot and create that open shot for one of his teammates. So by doing the Nikola Jokic rules, what the teams are saying is, we're definitely not going to let you try to score. We're going to take that off the board. We're focused on not letting you touch the ball to score. But that also takes away your creation skills, which puts the pressure on 2 Nuggets to beat 1 defender or 3 Nuggets to beat 2 defenders. Can Jamal Murray, Russell Westbrook, and Christian Brown, or Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Aaron Gordon, find the open shot amongst themselves, take the right shot, and hit it? Now, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., and Aaron Gordon, I have faith in doing that. Last night, Aaron Gordon misses his 3rd straight game, so it's Russell Westbrook back in the starting lineup, and Peyton Watson isn't ready to go yet. Julian Strother's now out a month, so you have Russell Westbrook, who's historically the worst three-point volume shooter in the history of the NBA, in this role. He was horrible in the first half. In the second half, he won the Nuggets the game. The highs and lows of Russell Westbrook. So how do the Nuggets deal with the Nikola Jokic rules? This is the question I think everybody is asking. How did the Nuggets adjust within this game to the Nikola Jokic rules? Again, it was rim pressure, putting real pressure on the rim, not settling for what the defense gave you in the open jump shots. I think that to me is the thing that is the most annoying about the Nikola Jokic rules, and the second best offense in the NBA is the Nuggets are taking what the defense gives them in a bad way. They're not establishing their own game plan. They're not doing the things that make them great. And if you look in the fourth quarter with about 3 minutes left, there was this awesome three that Jamal Murray hit to make it a 6-point game. Kings came right back down and made it a 3-point game, so it kind of got lost. But Jamal and Nikola are running a 2-man game. And they're running like kind of this inverted pick and roll for a second, and then they kind of decide they don't want to do it. So it ends up with the Nikola Jokic post up. And Jamal's on the right wing, Christian's in the right corner. And on that play, Nikola knows the rule, which is the nearest defender is going to dig and double. And especially because that nearest defender is Jake LaRavia, who got switched on to Jamal Murray, whose assignment is Nikola Jokic, and he's obviously been told over and over, do not let Nikola Jokic cook. So what he does is he doubles off Jamal Murray. Joker quickly hits Jamal, 3, bang, 6-point game. So that was some of Nikola Jokic's on-the-fly brilliance, figuring out the defensive scheme, reacting correctly. There's part of that, right? Like there's no defense to stop Nikola. Like he's going to figure some of this stuff out. And Michael Malone says even after the game, we're going to have to figure this out by the end of the season. There's no debate about it. The Nuggets need to spend the next 20 games figuring out strategies to combat this. But I also do think a large portion of this just comes down to the fact that Aaron Gordon was out last night, and the Nuggets have played a lot of good teams without Aaron Gordon. To my point, Russell Westbrook is shooting 68.8% at the rim this year, which is really good. Aaron Gordon's shooting 64.1% at the rim. So you might be saying, Jake, your point's not being made well. Okay, but the pressure Aaron Gordon offers is because of his shots at the rim. Russell Westbrook is only shooting 4% of his field goals are dunks. Aaron Gordon's 13% of his field goals are dunks this year. It's a different type of pressure, the soft finish versus the hard finish. Teams are worried about dunks. Teams aren't as worried about layups. They just, psychologically, the dunk is scary, right? Even if Aaron Gordon is not shooting it as well at the rim as Russell Westbrook. So that pressure, and something I've been mulling here, is you can create spacing in 2 ways. Great shooting. Great shooting, obviously. Talk about the Warriors, the ability Steph has to create spacing and gravity. But also getting pressure on the rim creates spacing because teams freak out. And right now the Nuggets are kind of caught in this in-between where without Aaron Gordon, they don't have that elite finisher. Teams are simply not scared of Christian Braun finishing or shooting it right now. Should they be? Maybe. He's been pretty good, but they're not. All teams have to worry about right now is Nikola and Jamal, and about 3 shots into the game, you can tell whether or not you have to worry about Michael Porter Jr. And that's what the Nuggets are dealing with. So Jamal talked about it a little bit post-game, said, no matter what happens, I'm going to hit the open guy. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue to hit the open guy, and they can take warm-up jump shots. If this is the defense teams are playing against the Nuggets in the playoffs, I have full faith that they're going to solve it and they're going to go far. Because you cannot give a team in the NBA this many open jump shots, even if it's Russell Westbrook shooting them. He is going to hit enough of these wide open corner threes. And even so, the Nuggets will scheme around it and put other people out there. They don't need Russell Westbrook out there for defense. Certainly not. Made a couple good defensive plays last night. But this is some of the issues that come with signing Russell Westbrook. But I thought what Russ said a little bit interesting too, or was interesting too last night, which is if they're guarding Jokic like that, I don't care if I have 20 turnovers. I'm just going to continue to try and get him the ball. I don't think that that's the right mentality, but I do like the sentiment because Russ knows he's taken a backseat to Nikola on this team, which has not necessarily been the case in the last, couple stops. I do think that Russ at times since he's come back from the injuries, not only not looked himself, but has been a little conservative, timid, whatever the word is. I thought last night in the second half, it was that aggression. And, at times it's annoying because he went up for a couple questionable layups in the fourth quarter. But some of them he made, right? It's that ability to push the pace that you love. It's that ability to put pressure on the rim, which changes the Nuggets game. So it's a give and take. But I do agree with Russ in what he said, which is it's not as simple as we just have to hit 3-point shots. If they hit enough 3-point shots and they become good enough shooters, teams will not be able to play defense like that against the Nuggets. I agree with the general statement of that. But within a game, when they are playing defense like that, it's not as simple as we just got to hit threes to take them out of it, because that's what the Nuggets tried to do in the first half, and it was a disaster. Second half, the Nuggets said, we're going to do what we do best, which is take it into the paint, get to the free throw line, play through Nikola Jokic, even if Nikola isn't actually touching the ball or orchestrating the offense. Instead, that goes to Jamal Murray, who has 8 assists and no turnovers. So I really like the Nuggets' adaptations in the fourth quarter in the second half against the Kings last night. I don't think the Kings are the best equipped to run this type of defense against the Nuggets, so it'll be interesting to see again what the Lakers throw at the Nuggets. But when the Lakers put this defense on tape against the Nuggets and beat the Nuggets, you thought to yourself, dang, that sucks that they lost, but it's kind of good the Nuggets saw it now. Fast forward a week and a half, and now the Nuggets have seen it a couple times. So if JJ Redick had a master plan to stop the Denver Nuggets and end the streak of the Nuggets sending the Lakers home in the playoffs, and this is the master plan, the Denver Nuggets know how to beat the master plan, or at least will in the next 20 games. I cannot wait to watch Sunday and Monday's games against the Oklahoma City Thunder, where the MVP was won, the MVP Bowl. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. We'll be watching that. Of course, we'll be at the game as well on Friday against the Phoenix Suns. That team is an absolute train wreck at this point, but I'm a huge Kevin Durant fan, so that'll be fun to watch. Probably his last game with the Phoenix Suns in Denver. Huge games coming up for the Nuggets, and they're on national TV, I think like 7 out of the next 8 games or something like that, or maybe 6 out of the next 8 or something like that. So if Nikola Jokic is going to win the MVP, we're talking about he needs like 5 triple-doubles, maybe a 40, 45-point game in here, maybe 2 of them to really upset the apple cart and prove his point. And when the teams are running the Jokic rules, it's going to be hard for him to do that. So I don't know how he's going to put up a big number against some of these teams, specifically doing everything possible to just let the other Nuggets cook. Last night, by the way, first time Nikola Jokic was a negative and the Denver Nuggets won a game since Portland 2022 when Jamal Murray hit that buzzer beater and it changed the fortunes of that season. Zeke Naji, shout out. He was fantastic. He has been fantastic. Really excited to see him play. He closed a little bit, subs in for Porter for his defense. Zeke has been unbelievable on defense. Still needs to work on his rebounding. Hits an open shot. Does some good things on offense, just bringing aggression. I'm happy to see that. Jalen Pickett did some nice things as well last night, and good to see Peyton Watson back. We will be back on Tuesday talking all things Nuggets Thunder after that 2-game baseball series style set. I am very excited for it, and I hope you follow me on social media so we can talk about it in live time. And of course, I'll provide post-game thoughts on it at denversports.com. The next podcast will be on Denver Sports on YouTube, so make sure you like and subscribe so you can see it when we go live. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk.